Morning guys, welcome back, and welcome if this is the first of my videos you've seen. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about auto feeders for a koi pond. So specifically I'm going to come on to a particular feeder that I've researched and purchased for my current situation. I'll do a little unboxing, we'll have a look at that, I'll talk a bit about it. I'll go through how to set it up, and then we'll have a look at the performance. We'll do a little review and form some opinions on it. Firstly, just a little basic chat about auto feeders. So, not for everyone. I've used them in the past when I've had bigger ponds. Particularly, I had a 5,500 gallon pond which I used to grow on a lot of young Tosai 1-year-old fish. A little bit more expensive, so I wanted to optimize growth, you know, maximize the potential that I'd paid for, and in that circumstance I used a feeder called a Velda Pro. Now that would do 20 feeds a day. I used to do around about 15 with my Veldas, 15 feeds a day, and then I'd feed the fish myself manually in the morning and several times in the evening as well, which I would always recommend you do. Don't rely solely on an auto feeder. Always feed at least one manual feed a day as well, so you can see the fish, make sure they're all coming up and they're all eating, there's none of them off their food, and you can use it to have a little look at the condition as well, make sure there's no issues. But yeah, if money's no object, if you have more expensive fish, bigger pond, then I do recommend the Velda Pro. Have a look at that. It's about 250 260 pounds, so it's not cheap, but absolutely brilliant. I used them for years and never had a single issue with them. Completely flawless. Today I'm on a much tighter budget, firstly, and I have a much smaller pond, much cheaper fish. I don't need to feed 20 feeds a day anymore. So I've looked at feeders. I researched feeders in the range of around 50 to 100 pounds, something like that, and the one I've chosen is actually 60 pound, and it's the All Pond Solutions solar powered feeder. So why I picked this one? 60 pound for a start, cheap as chips, digital display, a good size tank on it, container, so it holds a good amount of food. They will only do 6 feeds a day, these feeders. Most of the cheaper ones were around 5 or 6 feeds a day. That's fine for me now. These get 10 or 12 feeds on the weekend manually, but what I'll do with this, I'll set this up to feed from when I go to work to when I get home from work, to do it 6 feeds. I'll feed a manual feed first thing in the morning, and I'll feed them several feeds in the evening manually as well. So 6 feeds a day is fine for me now at the moment. And this one, there was a few around the similar price range, similar kind of spec, but what tipped it for me with this one was the fact that it's solar powered. So it has an internal battery which is charged by solar power, so no faffing about running a power cable, no worrying about remembering to change batteries, etc. That was kind of what tipped it in favour of this one for me out of all the ones that I looked at. So as you can see, I've not even opened this yet. We'll get on and open it up and we'll see what we've got. I just brought my knife. Okay. So that's the box. As boxes go, it's a nice box. Can't complain. I brought my knife. As you can see, this is the feeder itself, battery powered, up to 3 months on a single charge, but solar powered as well, so it's topped up, the battery's topped up by the sun. Automatic solar charging, built in 2200 milliamp lithium battery, adjustable. So you can set the feeding distance and the duration of the feed. Programmable, feed up to 6 times a day, digital clear accurate display, 120 degree wide feeding angle, and the capacity is 6 litres, so you can put 6 litres of food in this, so more than enough for if you're away on holiday for a fortnight. That's more than enough. One thing I have found with this, I've looked and nowhere does it say, and nowhere can I find how much the minimum amount of food is per feed. And from what I've read, it seems to be people's kind of, the only sort of negative comments I've found on it is that the minimum feed is still quite a lot, but I can't find out just how much it is. I will test this, we'll measure it, and I can tell you in this video later on exactly how much the minimum feed is. I'll run it at maximum as well, so you can get an idea of the minimum and the maximum, so the range of food volume per feed. All that information will come out of this video later on. So I'll crack on and we'll get it out and have a look at it. For what it's worth, if it means anything to anyone, it is really well packaged. The box seems you know, it sort of suggests really good quality. Let's say, for what it's worth. Oh, I should say as well, because I get it all the time, I have no affiliation with All Pond Solutions. They don't know me, I don't know them. I picked this purely on reviews and research on the specs and things and the price. Ordered it, here it is. No affiliation, there's nothing in it for me. You'll get an honest opinion on it off me. Anyway, I digress. So that's the feeder itself. So nothing else in the box, that is it, which is good. No assembly required, no faffing about. And I have to say, it does feel really quite solid. It does feel really well put together, I must admit. Okay, so solar panel on the top, and there's a cover over that as well, as you can see, a clear cover. That lid opens up. There's a bag inside and a few bits and pieces. You can sort of see there how it works straight away. So it's sort of a funnel into a what looks like a rotating element there. But yeah, good sized storage bin, tank, whatever we're calling it. Yeah, it does really feel well put together. Okay, also we've got some bits and bobs here, some spikes, I'm guessing, yeah, so they will fit onto there. Put all four on. You can stab it in the ground if you're putting it on your lawn so it doesn't get knocked over by the dog or blown away. I haven't actually thought about where I'm going to put this, but I'm guessing probably at the front here on the wall, so I'll just sit that straight on the side of the pond. That, I would imagine, is some kind of chute. Probably should have done this a bit of research beforehand, but I didn't. Yeah, I'm guessing that goes somewhere there, so it looks like, yeah, it does. It looks like that goes under there, and this is the chute for the food. So what that means then is that the digital screen will go at the front. As I say, I'll need to move the way, but so I can get at the screen and see the screen from the front, and the food will come out the back. So yeah, pretty good, pretty well thought out, I would suggest. Bag of desiccant, 4 screws, which I'm imagining, yeah, look like they probably secure those spikes in, and a booklet. So in the book, page on safety, installation and use, some instructions on how things work, maintenance, troubleshooting, how do I choose the correct amount of food, a bit of a plug for other products, and a schematic exploded diagram there of the products itself. Standard stuff, probably not a great deal of use. I did print off beforehand a manual from All Pond Solutions website. Same safety page, installation and use, much more detail in this by the looks of it. Yeah, there is. Maybe very similar. Maybe I've just printed out a bigger version of this, but at my age and with my eyesight now, that's probably a good idea. In terms of the feeder itself, as I say, screen on the front, digital screen. There's a set, a run and an up and down button, and that opens up so you can access these buttons. I notice on the side there's a little, like an adapter for, I'm guessing a charger, probably, Sunlight, that you can buy maybe separately. Can't get that back in. To charge it up. And an on-off switch. I don't know if that's going to do anything yet. Oh, so there we go. I've turned it on. It's now, so the screen's now lit up again. I'm not sure if you can see this well, but it says 0000 current time. There's a battery indicator there. 2 of the 3 battery lights are on, so it is charged a little bit, and it says distance S. So I'm making this up as I go along, but I'll press set. I don't know what time it is. I'll go for 2 o'clock. 2:03 set. There you go. I've set the clock. 3 minutes past 2. That's simple. Distance S. I can scroll again now. Distance M, L. I'm going to stick it on S. I'm presuming short, medium, long. It's only a little pond this. I don't want to be firing it very far, so I'll leave it on S. The next one, set timer 1. Run time. Set timer 2 and run time 3. So I'm guessing there's 6 of those. Yeah, there is. So you set the time for it for the feed, and you set the run time for the feed. So yeah, absolutely pretty straightforward. So if I set the first feed to, let's say, I am making this up, 10 past 2, and run time, I presume they're in seconds, so it goes up to 1, from 1 to 20, so I'll set it at 1 second, press set, and then run, done. Okay, so I've just programmed, as I say, I'm making this up, I haven't read the book. It is that, if I can do it, anyone can. It is very simple. I've set the clock to 4 minutes past 2 it is now, and I've set the first feed to run for 1 second at 10 minutes past 2. And that's it. It's done. It's that simple. Program the 6 feeds, set the time you want each feed to run for, press run, done. I'm just looking at how much sun this is going to see actually under my shade cloth, so maybe need to rethink my positioning of it, but the sun does, it kind of comes up and across that way, so the pond's in full sun all day, so I don't think it'll be a problem. So I'm going to get a bit of food out now, get some food in here before we hit the 10 past 2, and I'll get something underneath to catch it, and we can see how much it feeds in 1 second. Okay, so I've stuck a bit of food in. It's got some Hikari wheat germ in there, the small pellets, 5 or 6 millimetre I think is the size. Chucked a few in. 6 minutes past 2 now, so we've got 4 minutes. And I've just put a little tub under there to catch whatever comes out. I am a bit worried if it's going to fire it. It might miss that tub, but anyway, I'll try and divert it in. So far so good, yeah. As I say, well packaged. I have literally not read any instructions. I've just muddled my way through that there. I'm not the most, not the best with technology these days, but I've managed to program that. It is dead simple if I can do it. Dead straightforward. I'll collect that, I'll measure that as well. Then I'll come back to you and I'll be able to tell you exactly how much range you've got, so the smallest feed possible, the biggest feed possible, and then I'll get it programmed, all 6 feeds programmed up. We'll get it on the side of the pond, and we'll give it a few days, see how we go, and then I'll come back to you and we'll wrap up the video with some conclusions and some findings. Okay, so I'll just come back to you now. We're on it's 9 minutes past 2 on the time, so a matter of seconds now before the first feed that I hopefully programmed, and we'll see how we go on with that. I've just got this ready in case it does fire it too far for this ball. I've no clue yet how far it's going to come out, so I just want to make sure it doesn't go too far. Should just be a few seconds away. There we go. Oh, I dropped a few there, but oh no, not so bad. The odd one. Yeah. I can see why people would wish for the ability to feed a little less. I don't know if you can see really, but that's how much it's fed in 1 second on minimum. So I mean, that's a big handful, probably a big handful and a half for me. There is a lot of food there for one feed. Yeah, I can see why that might be an issue. Not ideal. I would have liked to be able to feed a lot less than that for the minimum feed. I'd like that to be somewhere kind of mid-range. You know, it goes from 1 to 20. That's 1. I would have liked that to be 10 maybe. I'd like to be able to feed a lot less than that. Yeah, I guess that's a downside. Not ideal. What I'll do then, I'll weigh that. Obviously, different foods are going to have different weights. I'll weigh that. This, as I say, is the Hikari wheat germ, so you can see the minimum amount of 6 milli pellet Hikari wheat germ you can feed with this in one feed. I'll off camera now. I'll do all that. I'll do a big feed, a full 20-second feed, and then you can see min max. You can see the range that you've got. Okay guys, as you can see, I've just set it on the side of the pond there just to have a quick look. I've set it, it's going to feed at 20 past 4, so just a minute or so away. So we'll just watch it. It's just a temporary position just while I do this test, but we'll have a look, see how it goes. I'll just come back a bit so you can see how far it fires it. Just been reading the book and it says at this setting, the S for small distance, it should fire about a metre, but I've kind of got it pointing down a little bit, so it may not go that far, but we'll see. There she goes. Okay, so not too bad. It all went in, and it all went in the area that I feed the koi, so the return flow from the shower and coupled with the air from the dome will keep the food in this corner here, and the koi know they always get fed here. Okay, I've lived with the feeder for a week now. I've put it through its paces over that period of time. I've done a few little tests and a few little trials with it, and I'll tell you now how the week's gone on, what I've found with it, how I've got on with it, and draw up some conclusions for you. So the first thing is, in terms of the feed rates, the lowest setting, which is 1 second, I ran 3 separate feeds on the lowest setting of 1 second, collected them, measured them. On the plus side, the good news was that it was very consistent, so all within 1 gram of each other, so quite consistent in what it delivers. The downside to that though is that the minimum amount that this will feed in one feed is 36 grams, which is just simply way too much. I feed these fish 8 to 10 times on the weekend when I'm off, less during the week, but they get kind of a good handful, which I've measured, and it was about 15 to 20 grams, so 36 is just way too much, so it's no use to me. Having such a high minimum feed, I suspect, will rule out 99% of the people who would use a feeder like this. I think people who have bigger ponds, bigger, better quality fish that would be okay with 36 grams per feed will probably buy a better feeder that's capable of more feeds per day than 6. So I don't really see where this sits in the market, really. I don't really see who would buy it and be happy with it, to be perfectly honest. I have contacted All Pond Solutions with that feedback and basically said it's not fit for purpose as it is. They haven't replied to me yet, but to be fair, it's only been a couple of days and it is the weekend, so I will update you if I hear back from them. But yeah, useless to me, and I suspect to a lot of people. What I would suggest, if you're still interested in the feeder, is go out, get yourself a handful of the food, you know, the size of handful you feed your fish in one sitting, and measure it and see what it weighs. If it's more than 36 grams, then maybe it is an option for you. If it's less, as I suspect most of you will find, then I would probably avoid this. Maximum feed, 20 seconds. It actually delivered 265 grams of food, over 1/4 of a kilogram of food in one feed. Mind-boggling. What goes on in the minds of the people who develop these, I will never know. I don't know anyone who would ever feed that much, apart from SeaWorld, probably, with the killer whales. Other than that, entirely useless. Has a motor inside that spins, so either half the speed of the motor, or put a timer on with the ability to time half a second, because you know it needs to feed at least half as much as it does on the minimum setting. Otherwise it's useless to most people. What I'm going to do, as I say, neither use nor ornament to me. I will think about how I can do it. I'll run some kind of little competition or whatever, or some kind of giveaway, and this can go off. I'll pay postage and it can go off to someone who can use it. But as I say, please do check how much you feed and make sure you know that you're happy with more than 36 grams of food per feeding. I'd like it to go to someone who can use it. I'll think about how I'll do that, and I'll pop up another video with that in. Other than that, it has worked flawlessly in that the timer has worked. It's fed, you know, the 6 feeds a day, bang on time, consistently delivering the same amount of food. The solar panel on top's kept the battery fully charged. Perfect, no problem. It is robust, it's well put together. Everything about it is really, really good, except the fact that it's useless because it feeds too much on minimum. I don't believe there's anything else you guys think they're getting fed I've missed, but if there is, or if there's anything else you'd like to know, do just drop a question in the comments. I will answer that. Do check out the other videos. Please do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Got a lot of good stuff coming up. And if this has been useful to you, please do hit that like button. It really does make a difference. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.